Hello, and welcome to Zero to Something, a place where we talk about founders' journeys, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. And without further ado, let's get started. You optimize everything, onboarding, conversion rates, your Notion workspace, but your inner world, that gets buried under a pile of Slack pings and founder urgency. When things feel off, you assume it's just you being lazy or moody or undisciplined. You try harder and you push through because needing therapy feels like weakness. Here's the truth. Therapy isn't a breakdown button. It's a growth tool. And for founders, it's one of the most underrated levers for clarity, resilience, and real traction. So why do founders avoid therapy? Well, founders are supposed to be resilient. You are the one everyone comes to when shit hits the fan. Admitting you need help? That's not part of the script. And in startup culture, you're expected to hold everything together all the time, emotionally, mentally, and publicly. No wonder therapy often feels like the last resort. And to be fair, it's common in any workplace. One of the studies found that about 60% of employees believed their mental health struggles could negatively affect how others perceive their competence. And what better way is it to admit that you have those struggles than going to see a professional? Plus, there is the good old grind set bro mentality. If you're not crushing your goals on 5 hours of sleep with no feelings or emotions, are you even a true founder? And I come from a culture where therapy is viewed as something negative. And my grandfather, who is 85 years old and has done a lot in his life, he is obviously from the older generation and keeps and agrees with that idea that therapy is unnecessary. So remember when I told him that I was going to go and study psychology and become a psychologist, the one thing he told me was, well, I've never had therapy and hey, I'm fine. And the funniest thing was his wife just walked past and she was just like, yeah, you are. But how about everyone around you? So yeah, therapy helps you personally, but it also has an effect on those around you. And therapy isn't someone fixing you because you're not broken. It's someone trained to hold space, ask better questions than your co-founder or friends ever can, and spot patterns that you're too close to see yourself. Therapy gives you tools, mostly emotional regulation tools, through reframing, burnout prevention, nervous system awareness, and other cool magic techniques. These tools directly impact your performance and how you perceive things. It helps untangle your self-worth from your metrics, your shame from your leadership, and your panic from your roadmap. And sometimes it just gives you space, those 50 minutes out of the day where you don't have to be the one holding it all together. Just like how you'd hire a software engineer to develop a product or a lawyer to review your documents or a coach to scale sales, therapy is about hiring a professional for your internal operating system. As I've mentioned multiple times, I have a psychology degree and I know the theory, I've read the research, I've done the research myself. I advise others to go see this therapist, but to be honest, I have avoided going for therapy myself for years. For a simple reason, because I thought I could handle it myself. I thought that if I could name it, I could fix it. But knowing the term, like seasonal depression, doesn't make the gray go away. And recently, things started feeling a bit heavier than usual, and every task was a drag, and it was quite difficult getting out of bed. The joy was gone, and just felt like the weight kept growing. And finally, I started therapy. Not because I broke down, but because I wanted to function again, function like myself, with ease and clarity. And I was reminded reading about tools and knowing about tools is not the same as having someone walk you through them when your brain just won't cooperate with you. The reality is finding a therapist is quite a quest. It's not just a simple sign up for the service and get it. It's more like dating, a bit messy and a bit awkward and a lot of trial and error. You need to find somebody who fits your personality and also your process. Do they challenge you or allow you the space to talk freely? Do you want CBT or psychoanalysis or gestalt therapy, which I'm not the biggest fan of, to be honest? It is a process and you need to expect to ghost the therapist or two. And that's okay. Therapy does not replace strong co-founder communication. but it massively improves it. For example, me and my co-founder, we have our weekly one-to-ones. And most of the time, they're about planning and goals and big picture visions. But sometimes they're just about talking and venting. And these talks are important because you are not alone going through this. Somebody else is there with you and they know what it is all about. So that is helpful. But at the same time, co-founder isn't neutral and they're also carrying their own emotional weight. You need someone outside the startup who isn't tied to cap table or your company's future to help you understand. And also, when you and your co-founder disagree, who is going to be your marriage counselor? Because we all know that co-founders basically like a married couple. The reality is that therapy isn't for the weak. It's for the strategic people. It's for the emotionally self-aware. The strongest founders I know and the strongest people I know, they have support. They don't just push themselves through things. Instead, they gather enough strength to look within, to go and talk to somebody, to seek help, and also to face their issues head on. But there is another side of the coin. You can also overdo it. Therapy isn't meant to be a lifelong diagnostic machine unless you have a serious disorder. If you are 3 years deep into weekly sessions, labeling every single thought as a disorder because of the psych TikTok or that psychology book you read, that's not growth. That's just dysfunction. There is a difference between healing and inner work and hobby diagnosing yourself into inertia. Therapy works best when you use it to learn, rewire, and return to action, not to stay stuck in self-analysis forever. So, the bottom line, too little therapy might lead to burnout. Too much therapy is just overprocessing. It's unnecessary. Balance, that's where we should all strive for. And honestly, there are no rewards for doing it all yourself and pushing through. And no investor is going to give you more money just because you survived another emotional crash without any support from outside. You are not weak for going to therapy. And you're not dramatic either. You're not soft. You are a person and you are a founder. And we all need fuel, mental hygiene. We need someone to help untangle the chaos in the head and clear it all up so we can go and build things that truly matter. Treat therapy as a growth strategy because that's what it really is. And as usual, I want to leave you with 2 questions to reflect. Where in your founder life are you pretending to cope when you're actually spiraling? And question 2, if support didn't feel like weakness, what kind of help would you ask for right now? Thank you for tuning in today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.